morning, friends. Welcome to this Sandhan Bisect EduSet program, the good initiative by Commissionerate of Higher Education. Today we are going to discuss Plato's theory of imitation and Aristotle's definition and theory of tragedy. We have with us Dr. Rakesh Rao from Principal from Unja College and Professor G.T. Parsania from Unja College. I welcome you, sir, to this Bisect studio. And before we begin our discussion, we have video clippings prepared by, enacted by the team of Bisect coordinating committee. And let us watch these video clippings.
Dear friends, it has been observed that when it comes to the discussion of Plato and Aristotle as critics, there is much fear and dislike. Plato's Republic and Aristotle's Poetics literally give shivers to the student. Our endeavor today is to dramatize the concepts of Plato and Aristotle to enable the students to understand their basic theory. It is our sincere effort to explain the theoretical basis of Plato and Aristotle. We hope our students will be benefited by it. Come, let's watch it.
My lord, I wish to begin by saying that ideas or heavenly archetypes, meaning to say the original models created by God, alone are true and real. All the rest of the earthly things are merely copies of them. Now, the world is the prototype or representation of heavenly archetype. Therefore, it should be the efforts of all human beings to know and discover this truth only.
My lord, I do agree with Plato, who said that the world was a prototype of the original heavenly model. But then, even if this world and its objects are prototypes of heaven, why do we forget that God Himself created this world?
My lord, Plato correctly observed that the world is transient, which means of a temporary nature. In such a world, the poet, the painter, or any other artist delight human beings by imitating this transient world and produce mere illusions and appearances in the likeness of the ideas. Let me explain. There are many tables in the world, but there is one idea or form of a table. When a carpenter makes a table, he produces a mere resemblance of this idea. Now, When an artist sits down in front of the carpenter's table to paint a picture of it, the resulting picture is a copy of something, which is itself the kind of shadow of the real object. Thus, the painting is removed 2 stages from reality.
My lord, this is indeed a very grave charge against poets by Plato. The ideas that poets take to create their poetry is not an imitation, but a representation of natural object. An artist, by imitating nature, presents an imaginative reconstruction of life. When an artist presents an image, he does not copy reality as it is, but it is a sensible portrayal or presentation of reality.
My lord, can my learned friend explain this charge brought by Plato? That painters and sculptors have tried to paint gods and goddesses as human beings? Which would mean that just as human beings have their weaknesses and limitations, so do gods have theirs too. Wouldn't that create a distorted image of God in the minds of common people? And is it not a folly of the highest order?
Of course, my lord. With Aristotle's help, I will surely answer these charges as well. The artist, who may or may not know what he is doing, is concerned with the greatness of God and the never-ending source of generosity we find in him. So, he paints or sculpts God in a form and manner which distinguishes God both from philosophers and from ordinary men. An artist's job is to help even an ordinary man to visualize God through the medium of his art.
My lord, how could Aristotle forget that poetry caters to the inferior part of the human nature? The poet who imitates and who aims at being popular is not made by nature, nor is his art intended to please or to affect the rational principle in the soul. But the poet gives importance to the patience and unwelcome excitement, which is largely imitated by the common people. Wouldn't you agree with me?
My lord, fine art goes beyond the bare reality given by nature and expresses such a pure form of reality that it is totally free from any manipulation of the real facts.
My lord, who can deny that poetry appeals to emotion rather than reason? Poetry cannot safely guide us as reason does.
I beg to differ, my lord. The function of poetry is to bring out the effect of catharsis. The cathartic effect purifies our emotions and therefore guides us in the lessons of life.
Please